And I want to turn now to crime, and I know that's something that you have really touched on and worked a lot on over the past few years, but I would like to know just a few specific policies that you would like to see the legislature put forward should you be elected.
Yeah, look, I think the first thing we're going to do is go into a crime session. Special session on crime. Okay, why? Because we got 3 cities in the top 10 most dangerous cities in the entire country. Like when I tell people that on the campaign trail, and I give them a pause and let that sink in, because if I ask you, like, give me some major cities in the United States, Shannon, what would you tell me? You think of Detroit, Atlanta, Houston, Dallas, maybe New Orleans, right? Los Angeles. Like, you could probably name me 10 big cities, and yet we've got 3 cities in the top 10 most dangerous cities. That means we've got some structural problems in our criminal justice system. And so we need to go in there and create transparency so that we can create accountability. We have to have some truth in sentencing that says that we can actually determine how long a person is going to prison for without some sort of fuzzy math, because I'm dealing with the lawsuits and that kind of fuzzy math. And we may want to look at things like what the federal system has. The federal system has a very structured sentencing guidelines. You break the law at the federal level, you know how long you're going to jail for. If they say you're going for a year, you're doing 8.5 months. And so I think that the people of this state deserve transparency, accountability, and truth in sentencing.
And speaking of transparency, there's been discussion of possible legislation to put a reasonable deadline for law enforcement offices, for body cam footage with police-involved shootings to be released within about a week, or a reasonable amount, but much sooner. If that were to cross your desk, how would you feel about that?
Well, I don't know. I'm trying to understand what that's going to do to overall drop crime. I don't know. I mean, that is
just to have more transparency and allow.
Well, does it? It adds more transparency in putting criminals behind bars. I don't buy that. I mean, look, that has never come before me. That's never been a discussion. I don't know where you're getting that question. I haven't seen legislation as of such. Look, what I'm focused on. Look, I have a track record of putting bad cops in jail. That's already done. Okay. Also have a record of standing up for the police and not letting, those who think the police may have broke the law just go and basically prosecute them when the law does it and the evidence doesn't support that. I don't think our problem is I don't think our crime problem in this state is the police.
No, I don't believe anyone's saying that. I believe it is born out of the Ronald Green case and the police video
well, I know,
being released later.
But again, we're going back to splitting hairs, okay? I mean, in the Ronald Green case, if my memory serves me correct, the last couple of officers that went before federal grand juries were acquitted.
Of some of the more minor charges, I believe.
Yeah, and so again, I'm not diving into. I'm just saying that's a discussion that right now is not doing us anything to drop the overall murder rate in Baton Rouge, New Orleans, or Shreveport. Sure. That's the discussion I want to have.
In the special session that you would want to call on crime, what specific policies would you want, or laws that you would want to change to try to tackle that session?
Well, look, a good general would never lay out his plan of attack. I mean, criminals watch the news too. Here's what I'll tell you. Again, in basic broad strokes, we want to create legislation that increases transparency, accountability, and truth in sentencing. We want to be able to hold those accountable in the criminal justice system who may not be doing their job accountable. It's something that we did in the legislation that didn't make it out the Senate when we tried to create some transparency and accountability in the clerk's offices through the clerk of courts for victims out there. Because we still haven't, in all the questions you asked me about crime, we never talked about victims.
Well, certainly, that was WVLA's bill, correct? The one that drew the transparency. Is that something that you would want to try and bring back
absolutely.
in the future?
We're coming back right with that. We're going to pass that bill.
And your special session on crime, would that be in the first year of your administration?
That would be in the first 2 days.
Okay. Well, I look forward.
Hopefully, that's what I mean. It would be very close to after being sworn in, like immediately. That's where we're going.